more formal. First off, I want to thank Dr. Resnick for giving me the opportunity to train at this program. If it wasn't for you, I would not be able to pursue my dream of becoming a radiologist. I want to thank Dr. Omar Awan for encouraging me and being that big brother figure that I could always look up to. I want to thank Dr. Pugach for looking out for me. He always knew when I was struggling with something and never hesitated to spare a minute to sit down and talk. I want to thank Dr. Judy for exuding kindness. I'm sure everyone in this program can say they have been positively impacted by you in some way. And Dr. Judy, you are the doctor that I aspire to be like one day. I want to thank everyone in the neuroradiology department, Dr. Morales, Dr. Ragavan, Dr. O'Connor, Dr. Vidal, Dr. Herskovitz, Dr. Jalad, and Dr. Mellon, for being my mentors and fostering my growth as a budding neuroradiologist. If it wasn't for these attendings, I would not have the knowledge, skill set, and passion for neuroradiology that I have today. As I head to my fellowship in neuroradiology at USC, I promise I'll make you guys proud. Last but not least, I want to thank my classmates. It's been a long and grueling 5 years, but I would not have wanted to spend the last 4 with anyone else. You guys have truly made my experience here worthwhile. More than working together, it's been a privilege to be a part of your lives. From seeing Sam and Courtney get married, to Adam, Tom, and Gada having their first child. Sorry. Thank you for allowing me to be in so many crucial parts of your lives. It's an honor knowing that I'll be graduating here with you today. And although we are all going our separate ways, I look forward to our class reunion in LA. Last but not least, I want to thank the 2 most important people in this room, and those are my parents. Mom, Dad, can you guys stand up real quick? These are the 2 people in my life that show me true, unconditional, and sacrificial love. They might not have taught me how to be a doctor, but they taught me the foundations of what it takes to be a good doctor, such as kindness, patience, compassion, and humility. For those of you who don't know my dad's story, in 1979, he immigrated to the US with only $36 in his pocket. He worked in the shipyards of the Bronx, working long hours as a manual laborer, and eventually worked his way up to become the manager. 6 years later, in 1985, he met my mom, fell in love, and got married. A few years after that, they moved to the rural burbs of Chicago, and that's where they had me. Growing up as immigrants, my parents by no means had it easy. They were in a foreign country, surrounded by foreign people, some of which did not look too kindly on non-Caucasian, non-English speaking citizens. To compound all this, we didn't have much money. In order to stay afloat, my dad worked 364 days a year, only to take 1 day off on New Year's Day. We couldn't afford fancy dinners, nice vacations, or even fashionable clothing. Except my mom. She always knew how to look stunning on a budget. The difficulty in not having much money wasn't because we couldn't enjoy the finer things in life. It was difficult because, unfortunately, my mom had a lot of health problems. We barely could afford medicine or a doctor's visit. And given we didn't speak very good English at the time, there are several occasions where doctors did not treat my mom with the utmost respect and care, to put it lightly. They would either brush my mom's concerns aside or have her undergo unnecessary treatments or procedures with money we simply didn't have. At the time, we didn't know any better because we didn't have any doctors in the family. We just assumed the doctor knows best and the doctor was always right. Having seen the suffering and discrimination my mom had to go through, I promised her that I would be a doctor one day so that I could take care of her. That was 25 years ago, and today we can celebrate the upholding of my promise. However, this celebration has more to do with than just having kept my promise. It's a celebration about how far my family has gotten and the collective efforts and sacrifices they had to make in order for me to get to where I am today. As much as I want to give myself credit for my success, I would not have been able to make it this far if my parents did not put a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food to eat, and most importantly, unwavering love. Last but not least, I want to do something special for my mom. there's onions up here. 9 years ago, before I started medical school, I asked my mom and dad what they wanted. When I asked my dad, he said he wishes he could go back in time so he could see my brother and I grow up. He wishes he didn't work so much so that he would not have missed the moments and memories he would have cherished, like watching me take my first steps, hearing me say my first words, or simply making it to one of my Little League games. Mom, when I asked you, you paused. After thinking long and hard about it, you said you always wanted to go to Europe. You told me the reason you wanted to go to Europe was because when you and Dad got married, you guys went there for your honeymoon. The problem was you guys didn't get to fully enjoy it. You said the food was overpriced, the lodging was too expensive, so you didn't get to see all the sights or relish all the different cuisines that Europe had to offer. Instead, you and Dad had to rush from hostel to hostel eating only cheap sandwiches and crackers. I remember how much it broke my heart when you told me this. And although it's been almost a decade, I vowed to myself I would take you and Dad back there one day. So with that being said, Mom, I want to fly you and Dad on an all-expense-paid month-long trip to Europe. In this trip, I've included all your flights, all your hotel stays, and a first-class pass on a bullet train that will take you to London, Paris, Barcelona, Rome, and Greece. I've also included an itinerary of all the famous restaurants to eat at, which I made through months of researching on Yelp and watching the Food Network. And just to pay for the food, I have with me a $12,000 check just for you. In conclusion, I want to finish with this story. In the book of Mark, there's a passage in the Bible about a poor widow and a bunch of noblemen. In this story, Jesus is preaching in front of a crowd of people. When it comes offering time, all the noblemen flock to the altar to put in their gold and riches. Then this poor widow comes by and only puts in 2 copper coins. The noblemen see this and laugh at her, ridiculing her for putting in so little. Jesus sees this and rushes over, telling them, "Stop. Truly I tell you this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They, the noblemen, all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of poverty, gave all she had to live on." In order to afford this trip on a resident salary, I had to spend countless hours moonlighting, skip many meals, learn how to cut my own hair, and even sell my beloved Corvette. The reason I'm telling you this is not to brag or boast, but to tell you that despite all this, it still does not compare to what my mom has sacrificed for me. Because what I did for her today, she did for me day in and day out. You see, in this story, I was the nobleman that only gave a fraction of what I had. And my mom was a widow that gave everything she had so that I could have a better life.